Hey guys, welcome to this Call of Duty Blackout Pro Tips tutorial, going from start to finish, giving you lots of tips. It's also worth keeping in mind, guys, that this video is recorded during the beta process, so if you notice something has changed or you need a little bit of guidance on something that you think may have changed, that is, please let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to send you a message and help you guys out. Also in this video, guys, I will be revealing the entrances located on the map in Nuketown, or Nuke Island as it's called on Blackout. I'll show you where those are, what's inside. Also, the fracking tower area, I will be showing you how to get into the underground area and what's likely to be down there for you. So don't forget to keep watching till the very end and you'll see those right then. Okay guys, so let's jump in with tip number 1. This is explore the staging area. Before each game you will actually be started in the staging area. This is like a pre-game lobby sort of area where you can look around and try out the new weapons and things like that. So what I recommend here is actually going and exploring the areas of the map, especially the areas of the map with names such as factory or turbine. Go and visit these places so you can learn the building layouts, where weapons may be located, and also where your enemies may hide. What I mean by this is, imagine the circle's getting very small towards the end and you're inside a building. If that other player knows that building layout better than you do, he's going to have a massive advantage. So it's definitely worth keeping track of those areas by going and visiting them during the pre-game setup, also known as the staging area. Also, the advantage of this as well is you'll see where weapons are likely to spawn inside those buildings or inside those areas, which will help you massively when you are going to land. So yeah, okay guys, so moving on to tip number 2. This is a very important one, and it is choose a good place to drop. Now when you first start the game, you will be on a predetermined flight path inside a helicopter. If you bring up your map, you will be able to see which way across the map you are actually heading. So for example, you may be heading from left to right or from the top to the bottom. Okay, and when you're traveling across the map, you need to look at the places close to the line or the flight path in this case and determine where you want to land. Now if you land close to the flight path, these are called hot zones. You're very likely to bump into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe lots and lots of players. So I would only recommend landing close to the flight path if you are wanting to get practice in to become a better shooter. Okay, now if you land a bit more further afield, so at a medium range, which I would recommend, say a medium named location, this is probably one of your better bets because there's not going to be that many people there. You are going to get pretty decent loot and you won't be too far away from the circle when it's revealed. So that might mean not needing to travel far across the map. Now finally, you could jump quite far away from the map, the furthest named location, away from the flight path, but by doing so you could actually leave yourself very vulnerable because the circle might be across the other side, which means you wouldn't have much time to loot and you would then have to travel across the entire length of the map. So I would recommend, if you are going for a win, landing somewhere medium ranged from that flight path. Okay guys, as for tip number 3, this is knowing how to jump correctly or know how to jump. Basically what I mean by this is when you leave the helicopters and you've chosen a place to get to, you actually need to know how to get there very fast or the quickest way possible. And the best way for this is to hold up on your controller so your character faces straight down. When he hits the proper speed, he will put his proper position, so to say, he will put his arms and legs to his side, jumping straight down. Also on the right hand side there will be 3 arrows facing downwards telling you the speed. This way you will know that you are actually going the fastest speed you can possibly get. Soon as you hit that sort of arms in 3 arrow speed, you can then straighten out and head towards your flight path. Okay guys, tip number 4, and probably obvious to most of you guys, is try and land somewhere where you know there's going to be a weapon. Now this means a building or a barn or a shack, anywhere like that guys, you know there's going to be a weapon there. However, landing out in the open, in an open field or in the middle of a road or I don't know, in the sea, you are going to get wasted. Somebody will take advantage of the fact that you don't have a weapon. So just try to be a little bit savvy and make sure you land close to a building and you'll be absolutely fine. Okay guys, so tip number 5 is always try to close doors behind you. Now this tip really only works if you are playing solo. The reason for this is it'll give you a massive advantage if you can hear those guys trying to creep up on you. However, if you are playing squads, I would actually recommend leaving those open so your squad mates know where you've looted. This way there'll be sort of no congestion where your teammates are going in the buildings that you've already checked and it just wastes a lot of time. However, if you are playing solo, close those doors behind you and you will hear if anybody's trying to creep up on you, especially those outer building doors. If you were in a building, the doors inside aren't really a problem, but those outer building doors, if you hear anybody opening those, it's a big advantage and a big giveaway for you to let you know that somebody's there. So yeah, that's tip number 5. Okay guys, so tip number 6 is to get a decent headset. Now, I don't want to sound condescending or anything like that, I just want to cover all the bases. So I'm sure that 99.9% of you know that having a decent headset makes a massive improvement to your game. So highly recommend getting a decent headset. Check out the market. There's really cheap ones that can still do a pretty decent job and still get you that advantage. If you are watching this video and you would like to recommend a headset to people that maybe don't have one at the moment, please do in the comments. This will really help those beginner players that are new to the FPS series. So guys, tip number 7 is know your armor. What I mean by this is, in the game, you can pick up protection. There is 3 sets. There's level 1 armor, level 2 armor, and level 3 armor. Now, I've heard a lot of complaining about level 3 armor. It's way overpowered. So, for that reason, Activision may get rid of that. I don't know. We'll see. Level 1 armor is just a straight armor. There's no shoulder pads. Level 2 armor has clear shoulder pads, so keep an eye out for those. And level 3 armor, even easier to spot, as the shoulder pads, but also as a dome on top, like an helmet, so you can spot the difference between those 3 really easily. And there's another thing about armor that not a lot of people have noticed, I don't think, but if you look at the little display picture down in the bottom left of your screen to show you which armor you are wearing, when you actually take damage, it kind of scrunches up. Okay, moving on to tip number 8, knowing backpacks or storage. Basically, dotted about the level, there is lots of little green bags, backpacks in this case, and you can put more items in them. So as default or as standard, you can only carry 5 additional items unless they're attached to your weapons, etc. However, if they are in your inventory, you can only carry 5. Saying that, there are a couple of items that you can stack. So for example, bandages can stack up to 10. So if you see bandages dotted about, you can carry 10 of those before they move over into a new item slot. So keep that in mind. So regarding the items in the bag, you can carry 5, and then when you pick up the backpack, you can carry additional 5. So it's very important, while useful should I say, if you can find one of those early in the game, it will help you greatly. You can add items in there, you can add the ability boxes in there, all great things. So having a backpack will help you out a lot. Moving on to tip number 9 guys. Now this one is important if you want to be efficient as a player. Basically, if you press up on your D-pad, it will bring a menu across the bottom of your screen, like a line menu. If you press left on the D-pad, it will switch over to your medicine, so you can switch between your bandages and your other medic kits. If you press right, it will switch over to your gadgets, so your items, your grenades, your Molotovs, your barriers, etc, etc. So switching between them and putting them into your quick menu will help you out massively. In the middle there, those are your abilities. I will actually cover these in another episode later at some point, so keep an eye out for that. Basically, there's a lot to go over with how they work, and they are really important. But if you want to quickly equip them, press up on your D-pad. That will allow you to switch between them and attach them to your quick choosing option. Okay guys, so tip number 10 is finding zombie events or bosses. Now this is not really a tip because it's not really going to help you improve your game. However, those areas do have good loot, and what I mean by this is, if you actually complete the zombie event or the boss event, you are actually rewarded with a crate. Now inside this crate you can get things such as level 3 armor. That was during the beta process, I don't know if that's still around later on. Good weapons and also gadgets. So it's really important that if you are close to one, there's not many other players around and you don't really have any decent weapons, quickly get yourself in there, kill a few zombies and get rewarded greatly for it. You can find these events throughout the Blackout map by looking for a big blue ray of light sticking out from a building all the way up to the sky. This will show you exactly where those zombies are likely to be. Also, I don't know if this for sure, but the boss mission levels, or the boss event level, is actually got a big red ray of light sticking out the top. So blue for zombies, red for bosses, and I imagine they will be adding more different event options later in the game, so keep an eye out for those. Each single one of those will give you decent loot, so if you want to get ahead of the game, you don't mind killing a few zombies, then head over to one of those and get yourself kitted out. Okay, so that's tip number 10 out the way, guys. We have gone through 10 of those. I would like to just take a moment to say, if you can find it in your heart, please like, subscribe, and comment. It will help me massively. As you can see by my subs at the moment, I am still a very new channel, so every single one will help me massively. Any comments, likes, anything like that will help. And thank you very much. Let's move on to tip number 11. Knowing that you can climb and jump and mount is very important. There are lots of high places that you can get to pretty easily just by going and climbing up the side of it. So for example, if there's a building with a box next to it, you can climb up the box, then onto the building. Large fences, a lot of them you can climb over. Now I see so many players that are new to the game running all the way around a large fence. Now you don't really need to do that. Most fences you can climb over it. For that reason, it will give you a massive advantage. If the circle is small, you're stuck behind a fence, you don't really want to be going out into that blue zone. So climbing up on fences, climbing up on walls, climbing over onto high objects will help you massively, give you a great advantage point over other players. So keep that in mind. Climbing, mounting and jumping will get you into those sneaky places. Okay guys, so moving on to tip number 12. Now, most of you probably already do this, and that is not make much noise. Now, if you know somebody's in the building in front of you, instead of jumping through the window, try creeping around the back and finding a way in. For this reason, you will likely get the drop on them and be able to kill them without them ever knowing you were there. However, if you smash through the door, or smash through the window should I say, they are going to know you're there, they're going to be ready, and you're likely going to die because they will have the drop on you. They'll probably just stare at the door, wait for you to come running in and take you out. Okay guys, so tip number 13 is keep your eyes peeled for crates. Now, I know other games like Fortnite have pinatas and things with valuables inside, but on Blackout, you're looking for actual normal crates. They are dotted about the map. They usually contain high level armor or decent weapons. There is, I've noticed in the beta anyway, there was large crates and there was also small crates. These are very useful to give you that edge right at the beginning of the game if you manage to land close by to one of these. They are random from what I've noticed, so don't think you can always find one in the same place. But it is worth, if you do spot one, getting there as quickly as possible. And I don't mean the ones that fall out the sky. I mean these ones are literally just dotted about the place. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. You might just win the prize of having a crate and having lots of goodies to help you moving forward in this match. Okay guys, so tip number 14 is keeping your weapon kitted out. Now what I mean by this is, when you pick up a weapon at the beginning of the game or at any point in the game, usually it has no attachments. So when you fire it, it's going to rock and wobble all over the place. If you're trying to shoot at distance, you are only going to be looking down the iron sights. So what you need to be doing is looking for attachments, so scopes, grips, handles, lasers, all those little things you can attach to your weapon. Suppressors, things like that, they all help you loads. Suppressor will obviously help you to kill people without being noticed. Sights will obviously help you to kill people from a longer distance. Grips will obviously help you to keep your gun steady while you are trying to obviously attack those enemies. So they're very important. What I recommend doing is every now and again when you get a couple of seconds spare, just put yourself in a corner somewhere, look at your menu, check how your weapon's going on. If you have any additional attachments with you, don't hesitate to get them on your gun. It will massively improve you as a player. You'll be able to kill people a lot more easier, and you'll notice how steady your guns will become, and also you'll notice how much you improve as a player. Hey guys, tip number 15 is keep an eye out for campers. Now what I mean by this is, when you are obviously exploring, you're looting and enjoying yourself, killing people, etc, etc, it comes to a point where the blue circle is going to push you into the safe zone, because if it doesn't, you're obviously going to die out there in the blue zone. So when the blue zone pushes you into that white circle, at this exact point when you cross that line, look around for campers. Try to find a safe place for yourself and have a little look around at other bushes and other rocks and trees, etc. close to where you are, because it's very likely that they are going to be campers. Okay guys, so tip number 16, and I think this is the most important tip in the game, and I don't want to sound condescending at all, but keep to cover, okay? I see so many people just running out in the open when there's plenty of cover around, and they will literally get shot and die. So for example guys, if you are out and about, there is a destination that you need to get to. In front of you, to your left, there's a tree line that's going all the way around a field, or there's an open field to your right. It's the quickest route. Even though that is the quickest route, I would always still recommend taking the tree line where possible. Obviously, if the circle's coming in, get in the circle if you need to. However, if you've got a little bit of time, try taking the tree cover. That will save you lots of times. 9 times out of 10, that will protect you and keep you safe. And you will notice that it is going to keep you alive a lot longer throughout the game, giving you a more chance to get that win. Tip number 17, guys. Now, this one is important, and a lot of people don't do this. You only really see pros doing this, or players that are really good at Battle Royale games, or even shooting games in general, and that is to keep moving. Now, I don't just mean when you're out and about, running across the field from cover to cover, keep moving. What I mean is, even when you're in cover, behind a rock, behind a tree, if you're just moving a little bit, like a bobblehead, from left to right, right to left, just a little bit of a sway, that will stop people from getting a lock on your head. And I don't mean like literally a lock, like an helicopter lock with a missile, but what I mean is it will stop a sniper from aiming at your head and taking you out pretty easy. So as long as you're still moving, it will actually deter a lot of players from shooting at you, because they won't want to miss and give away their position. Usually a lot of pro players will only shoot you if they feel that they can kill you. So by moving even just a little bit, you are giving yourself a much higher chance of living. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay, so for tip number 18, guys, is keep an eye out behind you, or keep an eye out for late arrivals. What I mean by this is, when you've just recently entered the safe zone, the white area, there is likely going to be other players getting pushed in by the blue circle, and sometimes this might be behind you. So it doesn't hurt just to take a couple of seconds, have a little look around, especially behind you where the blue circle's pushing others in. It might just save your life. It's not always the case, but it's always worth just having a quick look to see if anybody's getting pushed in behind you. Okay guys, so tip number 19 is try to stay close to the circle. And what I mean by this is, when the circle's just ended and the new destination is revealed, the new safe zone is revealed, instead of walking straight across the middle of the map to get there, try sticking to the left side of the circle, the old blue circle, or try to stick to the right side of the blue circle. What I mean by this is, don't go out the circle, but stick close to it, so that when you're going around the outside, the only real places that the enemy can be are in front of you or to one of your directions. So if you're pushing around to the right of the circle, then the enemy can only be in front of you or to the left. Or if you're pushing around from the left of the circle, the enemy should really only be in front of you or to the right. They can get behind you if you take a long time or something's held you up. So if you got into a fight, another enemy can approach you from behind, especially if they were close to you in the first place. So it does limit you to only getting attacked from 3 angles, and the only 2 likely places that you are going to get attacked from are in front and to your right. As long as you have followed the other tips I've mentioned in this, you should be absolutely fine. Okay guys, tip number 20 is knowing when not to shoot. Okay, it's so much fun to obviously shoot people in the game and kill people in the game, etc, etc, but sometimes we just need to be a bit reserved. What I mean by this is, if you're out of the safe zone, you're in the blue area still, and the circle's just about to come in, just behind you, you do not want to be shooting somebody that's already in the circle, because they will literally use that circle against you, hide behind cover, and shoot you as you run towards them. Okay, in other instances, if you're out in the middle of a field and you can see somebody waving in between trees, taking a shot at them is really bad, because they will literally take cover and just shoot you down. So knowing when to take a shot or knowing when to attack is very, very important. And I would recommend never doing it whilst you're out of cover. So that kind of goes in along with the other tip I mentioned previously. So yeah guys, learn when not to shoot. So try not to be so trigger happy. I know it's fun, I know it's what the game is all about, but sometimes, especially in Battle Royale, you just need to not take the shot. Okay guys, tip number 21, using your glider or knowing how to use your glider. If you're in a high position in the game, you can actually redeploy your glider, your wingsuit, or whatever you want to call it. You can reuse it again to help you get out of sticky situations. For example, if you're up high on the construction site, now somebody's shooting at you, you want to get out of there quickly. The quickest way down is to actually jump, right? Okay, if you want to do this properly, you have to do it by this means. You need to run, so hold your run button, and then you need to hold jump when you get to the edge. Do not let go of jump, do not tap jump, do not fiddle with jump in any way. Just literally run to the edge and jump and hold it. Okay, this way you'll redeploy your glider, your wingsuit, which will allow you to get safely to the floor. Okay, I can almost guarantee that one of you will die this way by just literally tapping it and falling to your death. I've even done it so many times, even though I know how to do it. When you're in a sticky situation, somebody's shooting at you, kind of panic, you jump, and you can fall to your death. But as soon as you get it right, and it gets into your brain memory, you'll be absolutely nailing it. So yeah, run, hold the jump button. That's as simple as it is. Run, hold the jump button, guys, okay? And that'll help you to get your wingsuit back down to the ground and out of any sort of sticky situation. Okay guys, tip number 22 is knowing your vehicles. There is 3 vehicles in the game as it stands when I played the beta. These are the quad bike and the truck and also the helicopter. Now a couple of things you need to know which will help you just in case somebody's shooting at you. If you're going for the quad bike, you do actually need to press a button to get on that if you are player 1 or player 2. So a friend who's also trying to get on, you need to press a button. Okay, now vehicle number 2, the truck, you will need to enter this by going to the driver's side door. Now a lot of people will try to just walk over to it and press the button. It doesn't work. You need to walk around to the door. So if you're getting shot at, keep that in mind. Any of your friends that want to join you in this vehicle will actually just need to climb on the back. That is the only other place you can be. You don't need to press any button to enter. You literally just need to climb on the back there, okay? Now the helicopter is a little bit different. You will all need to press a button to get in there. And there's no additional weapons on that. You're literally just sitting on the side. You can shoot from up there, but you're not using any weapons in the helicopter apart from the ones that you're carrying. So keep that in mind. You will need to press a button to get in there. I highly recommend that you get used to these vehicles whilst you're in the staging area at the beginning of the game. This will help you a lot throughout the game because you will need to know how to use these, okay guys? Okay, 23 guys. Tip 23 is moving on from tip 22 along the same sort of lines. This is stop your vehicle before getting out. This is really simple guys, but a lot of people will get caught out by this. If you don't stop or at least come to a very slow sort of speed, you will actually jump out and die. This is in all the vehicles on the game. I'm not sure about the boat. You might be able to jump out that at full speed if you're in water. However, all the land vehicles, including the helicopter, if you jump out without stopping or slowing down, you will take a lot of damage. So keep that in mind, guys. Okay, guys, so for tip number 24, this is really an opinion of mine, or a preference of mine, should I say. I recommend trying to find an ABR 233 and taking that to the final circle. Try to find decent attachments and at least a 3, 4 or a good scope. The reason for this is when you get to the end circle, there's going to be a couple of snipers most likely, and they have to take individual shots, where with this rifle you can shoot at a very good distance while being able to shoot multiple rounds. So I would highly recommend this. A lot of people might disagree and say just take a sniper because it only takes 1 shot or 2 shots to kill somebody. However, with this you can keep up the suppression, you can keep those rounds going down the sides, hitting a tree or hitting the cover that the other person's behind, stopping them from getting a sight on you. So I would highly recommend this, and I promise you now, if we take this to the final circle, it will do you proud. However, you can take another assault rifle that's kitted out, or another tactical rifle that's kitted out, but me personally, I think that this is the best one in the game. So that's my personal preference, guys. Try to find your own, but I would recommend this gun if you get a chance to carry it. Okay, kind of on the same lines of weapons, guys. Also, tip number 25 is try and spot golden weapons. Now, if you look down at a weapon on the floor, they are just normal colours. There's nothing special about them. However, if the gun is golden completely, if you pick that up, it will be fully kitted out. So I recommend if you spot any golden guns on the floor, on the deck, literally pick them up. Especially early on in the game, they will do you proud. You can strip them back and put them on the weapons that you prefer, which I do a lot of the time. But it's definitely worth picking them up because you know they'll be fully kitted out. Tip number 26 then. this is my personal favourite gadget in the game, and it is the grappling hook. Now, obviously you will try to carry as many items with you as you can throughout the game, but me personally think that this is a game changer. The grappling hook can literally get you up into positions that will literally allow you to flank your enemy or catch them off guard. So, for example, there's a guy on the roof ahead of me and I'm taking the shot, and I know he's hiding up there, so I use the grappling hook to get up on the roof and jump down behind him, taking him out, and obviously getting me the kill and getting me into that position. So if you see a grappling hook on the floor, guys, I highly recommend taking that with you, because it will help you get the flank, get into them positions that are going to catch your opponents off guard. Yeah, take the grappling hooks with you, guys, and I usually keep it equipped as well. So yeah, definitely worth taking with you. That's tip 26, guys. Okay, tip number 27, it's kind of like previously I mentioned, your armor, getting to know that for yourself so you know which one's going to work for you. It's also important to try and spot which kind of armor, if any, your opponent is wearing. And also a little tip, when you shoot at your opponent, if he is wearing a body armor, a little symbol will come up just below your cursor, your hit marker, so keep an eye out for that. It will allow you to understand which armor the enemy is wearing. Also, you can usually tell if they're wearing level 3 armor, because obviously they will have a big dome on their head. I wouldn't recommend approaching somebody with level 3 armor straight off unless you are in cover and you know that you've got the jump on them. However, if you're out in the open, they've got level 3 armor, I would recommend trying to be a bit conservative and obviously approach that with caution. But overall, just keep an eye on what armor they have, and this will help you to understand how much damage you're going to have to do and if you're likely to win that fight one-on-one. Okay guys, so moving on to tip number 28. I should have really put this one quite early on in the tutorial. However, it is you can heal while moving. So if you're getting hurt, or if you've been hurt and the circle's right behind you, or you just want to get behind cover, you can actually move and heal at the same time. So I highly recommend doing that if you are in a little bit of a sticky situation. Don't forget also that on previous Battle Royale games you couldn't do this. Well, some of them I believe. But you can on Blackout, or at least you could in the beta process. So I recommend, if it's still available in the full game release, that you keep that in mind. If you need to move while healing, then do so. Yeah, keep yourself alive and keep moving, and obviously that will help you to get further on and help you to get more wins. Okay, so that's tip number 28. Tip number 29. Now this one is obviously quite self-explanatory. It's don't shoot your teammate. What I mean by this is you can actually kill your own teammates or you could at least in the beta process whilst playing squads or duos. So just keep that in mind. Try to avoid shooting your own teammates, using weapons against them, grenades, etc. Because they will die or they will go down, and that will obviously put you in a bad, sticky situation. So just keep that in mind. Be a little bit easy around your teammates. Just make sure that you're not hurting them and they're not hurting you, and you should be absolutely fine. Okay, so moving on to tip number 30, guys. This is one of the most important ones in the game. Always try to get to high ground. So when you're getting, especially towards the end of the circles, the last few circles, 3 or 4 circles, when it starts to get really small, you want to be trying to aim for the high ground. This is, unless obviously there's no cover up there or there's nothing to really hide behind, then maybe you should consider somewhere else. However, if there's high ground with trees or rocks or buildings, always try to get the high ground. It will obviously make, when you're shooting, the bullet drop won't be as far, so you can obviously aim a lot more accurately. Also, grenades and things like that, you won't have to aim them as high or throw them as far, because the distance will also be reduced, because obviously the downwards momentum of gravity. So yeah, just keep that in mind, guys, that the high places or the high ground towards the end of the game will give you a massive boost and help you win the games. Okay, so moving on to tip number 31. This is quite important, and you see a lot of beginner players do this. So learn this quickly and learn this early on, and this will do you massively to help you obviously get a lot further into games without dying. And this is when you're looting somebody else's backpack, or when you're looting somebody else's body, the little backpack that's on the floor. You'll see it once you kill a few people. When you're looting their bodies, don't just stand out in the open, guys. People will literally destroy you. You've got to try, keep moving, or at least, in this case, if you are out in the open, try to go prone. Try to get behind cover. So, for example, if you kill somebody in a doorway, try to keep around the doorway so that when you are looting their body, no one's going to be able to pick you off pretty easy. You see so many people die by looting these boxes and things, these people's bodies. So if you can avoid it, I would highly recommend that. But if you need the ammo, just remember, try go prone, or at least try to get behind cover. So just keep that in mind, guys, and that will help you a lot. Moving on to tip number 32. This is, I think, one of the most important tips that anybody can give. Basically, when you are one of the last few people in the game, don't forget to keep track of that number at the top right. When you are one of the last people in the game, if you haven't been spotted and nobody knows where you are, before you move to your next position or move to the safety of the next circle, if you can, try to get a bearing on where the other two players are before giving yourself away. The reason for this is, if there's more than one person, it will help you out massively to know where they both are, so you know which side you need to get off cover. So, for example, if there's a player in front of you and there's also a player to your right, you know that by positioning some cover to your right, you can take on the person in front of you without really having to worry about the person on your right, or just things like that. It's just really important that you know where the guys are before they know where you are, if that is possible. Obviously, if they know where you are, or at least one of them knows where you are and he's shooting at you, then obviously you've got to try and make the best judgment to keep yourself alive. But yeah, if you can, just try to get a visual of the players that are remaining before you move out of that cover towards the end. But do keep in mind that circle is coming, guys, so it is important that you keep track of that. Okay, guys, so the next tip is, don't forget to try and take some items to the final circles. What I mean by this is, you have ability boxes, you have grenades, you have Molotovs, you have barriers, you have all these little things that are going to give you a bit of an edge if you manage just to maintain a couple of them just till you get to the end. One of the best perks you can keep to the end as well, or the ability, should I say, is the dead silence ability. If you manage to obviously take one of these with you and use it in the final few circles, you might be able to get the edge of your opponent by sneaking up behind them or sneaking around a rock when you know they're there. So it is very important to try and consider how you play as a player and keep a few things back just to get you get in those final circles. And I promise you, that will help you a lot. However, if you really need to use them throughout the game, nobody's going to hold that against you. Use them, but try to pick up a few others on the way. And when you get to a few final circles, you'll see that by keeping those abilities or items till then and using them at the right time will make a big difference to how you play as a gamer. And the next tip then. So the next tip is tip number 34. This is, which is pretty obvious and quite self-explanatory, try and aim for the head, guys. Okay, so basically, if an enemy is wearing armor and you're shooting at the armor, they are actually going to resist some of that damage. But by shooting the head, you actually bypass that damage straight away and kill them off. However, level 3 armor does have a bit of protection against the head. Whether that's still in the game, again, as I previously mentioned, I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, try and aim for the head, guys. This will do the most damage and get rid of your opponent a lot quicker than by doing anything else. However, obviously, if they're hidden or they're lying down in the grass and all you can see is the leg, then obviously go for the leg. But if you do get the chance to take a headshot or the player is running at you, try to sort of aim at the chest and then upwards, and this will give you the best sort of kill range and help you to take out those opponents quite quickly. So yeah, tip number 34, aim for the head. Okay, guys, and tip number 35, which is the last one in my video before moving on to the information about Nuke Island and also the fracking tower area, about how to get underground into the bunker and also underground in the fracking tower area. I'll go on to that in just a moment. But as for tip number 35, this is keeping track of the last few things will make a massive difference to your game while you're in the final circle. What I mean by this is, just have a quick look at your minimap to see where the circle is and where it's going to end, and make sure that you're not trapped just on the rim, because if you are and it pushes you forward and you're trapped inside that, you're going to take damage from that and your opponent's going to be shooting at you at the same time. That's going to wipe you out completely. And also knowing the player count of how many players are left will also be a big advantage to you, because you'll know if you've got one person, two people that you've got to fight against, you'll know that aiming at one, standing out in the open is going to be a bad idea. However, if it's just you, mano mano, 1v1, and you can stand out in the open if he is, and then take him out. So, yeah, just, the last tip is, number 35 is, just keep track of what's going on in the last few circles, because it's so easy to get caught in the moment, your heart's pounding, you're about to win a game, you forgot about the circle, or you forgot that there's more than one player. So, yeah, tip number 35, just take a quick look, just a quick glance at the circle and also at the play count. And that, guys, is all the tips I have for you today. I will be hopefully bringing you more videos very soon. I know I am going to be doing a video on the abilities, so the ones that you use for dead silence and all those ones, the ones in the little green boxes, I am going to be doing a tutorial on them to help you understand how they work and which is the best ones to use, when and where. So keep an eye out for that coming very soon. Don't forget, guys, if you have been helped by this video in any way, any of the tips I've helped you become a better player, please consider liking, commenting, and also subscribing. It will help me massively. I am a new channel, so any help you can give will be greatly appreciated. Okay, and now, as promised, guys, here is the locations of the entrances to the underground bunker on Nuke Island. Okay, there is ones that I found anyway. There is around 4. I'm going to mark them up on the map and show you guys now so you can see them for yourself. I've also put a little bit in the video so you can see those as well. Also, in the fracking tower area, inside the ISO container, which I'll put on the screen here, there's a button and that will open the underground area, which you can see there in the middle of this screen. If you head down here, there's usually pretty decent stuff. Well, there was during the beta process. 9 times out of 10, I got a level 3 armor down here and also some pretty good weapons. Do remember though, if you drop down here, there's only one other way out, so you can actually be caught out here, guys. So just keep that in mind. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you soon.